What's up guys, this is Shivnath from Computer Conversation. I am going to discuss about Intel's 10th gen Comet Lake desktop processor lineup announced back on 30th April. When it was announced, I thought it would be quite underwhelming, but the pricing strategy that Intel applied is one of the main factors that makes this entire lineup rather interesting. There's quite a lot of stuff to cover and discuss, so watch this video till the end, and if you are new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Let's jump right into it. Intel's 10th gen Comet Lake series is yet again based on a 40nm revised Skylake architecture. Intel has divided its mainstream desktop processor lineup into 6 segments: i9 for the enthusiasts, i7 for high performance, i5 for general performance, i3 for entry-level performance, while Pentium and Celerons for light workloads. We will be discussing the 4 most popular segments, that is i9, i7, i5 and i3. Before proceeding any further, let's have a look at Intel's naming scheme. Intel processor names end with either K, F or KF, where K indicates the processor is unlocked. If a processor name doesn't have a K in it, it cannot be overclocked. F, on the other hand, indicates a processor doesn't have an integrated graphics. And lastly, KF, which indicates it's an unlocked CPU with no integrated graphics. Now that we are done with the ridiculous naming scheme, let's get back to the chip themselves. This time, Intel announced 4 i9 chips, 4 i7 chips, 6 i5 chips, and 3 i3 chips. For now, let's dive straight into the i9 lineup. The specification sheet shows there are 4 i9 chips, of which the first 2 are unlocked and the bottom 2 are locked. The single core boost clocks can range anywhere from 5.1 to 5.3 GHz depending on the conditions, while all core boost will be in the range of 4.8 to 4.9 GHz. The TDPs have also been increased to 125 watts. Compared to the Coffee Lake i9s, 2 more cores have been added and boost clocks have been bumped up, resulting in a higher power draw. The 10900K and the 10900KF are priced at $490 and $470 respectively. These processors are competing with AMD's 12-core counterpart, the 3900X. To me, 10900KF seems to be more appealing one. Why? Because it's priced at $20 lower than the 10900K and it's basically the same chip without the iGPU. Compared to previous gen's flagship 9900K, which launched at $500, this time the 10900K comes with 2 more cores at almost the same price. In response, AMD recently slashed their 3900X to $410, which makes the 3900X one hell of a bargain. The 10900K is kind of good at single-threaded workloads and gaming, while it falls quite behind in multi-threaded workloads or productivity benchmarks. Intel's offering here is priced higher and clearly falls short when compared to the 3900X. If you want the chip for gaming, you're better off with either a 10600K or a 10700K. Speaking of the 10700K, let's take a look at the i7 lineup. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting. Looking at the 10700K, we are basically getting the previous gen's flagship 9900K at around $380. It's already quite a bargain. It features a higher base and boost clock at 3.8 and 5.1 GHz respectively. The TDP has also been increased to 125 watts as compared to 9900K's 95 watts. Now, this places it in a direct competition with Ryzen's 3700X and the 3800X in terms of performance, while being costlier than both of them. The 3700X and the 10700K performs almost similarly, and as usual, the latter performing slightly better in some games. With the 3700X costing around $300 and the $380 price tag of 10700K, the 10700K is at a clear disadvantage here. After the i9 and the i7, let's focus on the best segment of the entire 10th gen lineup, the i5 segment. Intel has finally introduced hyper-threading to their 6-core i5 series, resulting in a 6-core and 12-thread configuration. Oof, finally. There are 6 i5 chips from Intel this time, and they are quite priced well. Taking a look at the specs of 10600K, we can see it has a base clock of 4.1 GHz and a single core boost clock of 4.8 GHz and an all-core boost clock of 4.5 GHz. It has a TDP of 125 watts. costing around $260, which is 50 more than what its competitor costs, which is Ryzen 5 3600. As far as stock performance is concerned, in multi-threaded workloads, 3600 pulls quite ahead of the 10600K. However, in gaming, the 10600K beats the 3600 and stands at par with the 10900K and the 9900K. 10600K does have a high overclocking headroom. So, upon overclocking, the differences in performance which we saw in the multi-threaded workloads as compared to that of the 3600 reduces by quite a decent margin. While in games, it pulls further ahead of the 3600. If gaming is all you care about, then this chip is definitely made for you. It serves as an excellent value for money chip and so far the best one in the entire 10th gen lineup. And finally, we come to the i3 chips. This time we have 3 i3 chips, and just like the i5s, Intel has finally added hyperthreading to the i3s. Although all 3 of them come with their iGPUs enabled, which is a plus point, the price however seems to be quite high. While AMD is offering 3100X and the 3300X at just $99 and $120 respectively, Intel prices their base i3 as $122. Intel here does have the higher clock speeds and a more overclocking headroom, and if the 10600K is any indication, this i3s might be packing quite the punch. For people who are looking for an ultra budget but power packed gaming system, the i3s might find appealing. The i3s might impress them. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and also follow us on our FB, Telegram and Insta. The links are given in the description. Until the next video, take care.